Hey, that was solid.
All right, everyone, we are at the dive spot. We are ready to go in. We're gonna go for lobster. I'm gonna grab some sea urchins, my dive buddy Kay. It's cold. Might bring my spear gun out, not sure. You'll find out very soon. But we are here bright and early. And let's go grab some bugs at least, and maybe some fish. Let's go.
Right when we got to the spot, we saw birds diving and a pod of dolphins circling right where we were about to dive. So we were super excited to get into the water. There was a lot of life happening out there. Surf was about a foot. Visibility was pretty nice at around 13, maybe 15 feet, give or take. And the surge or the current we're going through was pretty light in the beginning, and then towards the end of the dive it kind of picked up. The primary target was spiny lobster, and fish were a nice extra if we can find any worth spearing. Let's stop bothering this little halibut now. Let's kick off the video. It's pretty tough finding a keeper this late in the season. What a keeper is a lobster that has a carapace of at least 3 1/4 inches. I'm exploring this hole here, really tough to see, but you can see my hands swooping in. I shake the lobster around, and I do eventually pull this one out. It was pretty barren, but I did spot this one that I thought could be legal, and it is just short, so this guy is going back into the ocean for another season. But I noticed that it's not going into a hole. It'll probably eventually find one, but let's see how fast these guys can get. I know many of you are curious about that and how they swim, and they use those antennas in the front to detect motion or disturbances in the water, and once they sense danger, they shoo away, just like that. So as I'm exploring around, check on my dive buddy K, and he's looking straight at a hole with this spear gun, shooting into it. Generally speaking, you want to avoid shooting your spear into holes. One, it blunts the tip, and also you could bend your shaft depending on the power of the spear gun. But you can see here, it was worth it, whatever fish that was. Kay is battling this fish, and it is putting up a pretty darn good fight. There's this shooting line a little tangled up there. Break it loose, and after a couple of attempts trying to pull out this fish, I try to help out, and I take a dive, and he tells me it's a sheephead. And in local waters, it's really tough to find a big one, but look at that tail sticking out. It just decided to flip around for whatever reason. I guess it feels safer that way. So what I try to do is grab the tail. I was able to pull it out a little bit, but it does slip away. Grab the shaft, yanking on it, but try not to yank too hard. He said the shot placement was pretty good, so I felt confident pulling a little bit harder. And the key here for me is securing this fish, not just by pulling it out, but using my right hand is where the flopper is. I engage the flopper, and I make sure he can secure his catch. After that catch, I am looking for sheephead, and I do see a handful of times that might be worth shooting, but you can see here I'm just checking out that general area, trying to stay low, but I don't see any worth shooting this time around. But here he goes again, dive buddy K. He's exploring a hole and he sees the lobster, and he swiftly yanks it out smoothly. This is kind of mid-column reef right here. Nice tail grab, pulls it up to the surface. We do a measure. Remember, carapace has to be 3 1/4 inch. It is definitely legal. and he has a lobster as well.
Nice.
So a sheephead,
Yeah,
spiny lobster, and he does eventually grab some sea urchin as well, uni, the trifecta. This is a mola mola, also known as a sunfish. In the previous video, I kind of went over some of the interesting facts about it, but here's some more. Sunfish bathe on the surface to regulate body temperature, and sometimes they'll lay on their side at the surface so birds can eat parasites off them. So really interesting, but a funky looking fish for sure. Here's some stats from the dive. Overall, a great time. Deepest was 38 feet. Longest dive was 54 seconds. 45 dives total at an average depth of 14 feet. Here's some additional info if you're curious, but overall had a great time. Now let's head out of the water and see our catch. Y'all, we just wrapped up the dive, grabbed some uni. I skunked, but my dive buddy Kay got some sea urchin. A nice lobster, and look at this sheephead. For local waters, this is pretty darn nice. This is probably, what do you think? 20 something? 24? 26 maybe? It's a really nice size. But a solid day for Kay, but I didn't get anything, but the water was pretty nice. It got a little bit choppier towards the end, but pretty good haul, especially for SoCal.